What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw and Unscripted show with yours truly, Mr. Christopher Rausch, your no excuses coach. And truth be told, I just came racing in the door right now from having a moment. And here's what I want to kick off the show with: moments. People are dying. Yeah, oh my God, Chris, you're going to start off on a bummer note. It's true. And we're all going to go sometime. But guess what? In between now and when we go, we get to live. We get to live. We get to do all these things in life. But so many of you guys are out there wasting your time, hoping, wishing, and praying that someday, when this is right and that's right and this is right and this is right, you're going to live your life. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the Raw and Unscripted Nation, the kick-ass misfits of life, live your life right now. I can't say this enough. I've been doing the show for 5 years. We're in 28 plus countries. My heartfelt message to you tonight is to live your life. Be present in the moment. I just raced here. I just raced here to have this conversation with my beautiful guest that's going to be here in a minute. Having a family moment at a pumpkin patch. And I was sitting there, I was like, just be present, Chris. The next moment's going to present itself. And so many times we're thinking about what we think will be the thing that makes us happy. But why not be happy right now? Why not be joyful right now? Why not be grateful? Oh my God, he said grateful. Why not be grateful right now? Like grateful for the fact that you can breathe on your own. Grateful for the roof over your head, wherever it might be. Grateful for the beautiful people in your life that love and care about you. Grateful for the opportunities, the technology, right? Literally, I'm the no excuses coach. There is no excuse for you not knowing how to do something. You just pick up this thing. You pick it up and you type into it, how to fix my finances, how to fix my relationship, how to set goals, how to get healthier, how to lose weight, how to do anything. You just type it in. And then guess what? You follow the instructions. But because I meet so many of you every single day, and you guys, oh my God, Chris, I just wish I had more time. Oh my God, Chris, I just wish I knew what to do with my money. Oh my God, Chris, I just wish I knew what to do with my family. Put it in your phone and then listen to the answers and then implement those in your life. And it's pretty incredible what it is that you can do in your life. I swear to God, I have seen so many people spend the majority of their life living in excuses. And I just invite them to sit there and say, you know what? If you didn't have excuses anymore, what would you have? You would have results. Think about that. I would have results. I wouldn't be able to blame the people in my past for the situations right now. Just imagine that. I no longer blame my parents. I no longer blame my ex-husband. I no longer blame my kids. I no longer blame my sisters. I no longer blame anybody. I take responsibility for my life and I live it, and I choose to be grateful for this moment that I get to experience right now. And for those of you guys who have been on the podcast and listened to the podcast for the last 5 years, thank you. Thank you. For those of you guys who are new, here's the deal. You take three strategies from this conversation tonight, which I promise you will be life-changing. It always is. I do not say that lightheartedly. It always is. You take 3 strategies and you do this thing and you write them down on a sticky note. Yeah. 3 strategies, 3 sticky notes, 1, 2, 3. And then you put them on your computer monitor. You put them on your dashboard and you sit there and say, you know what? I promise. Just keep your promises to yourself, ladies and gentlemen. How many times do you promise to yourself that you're going to do something and you don't because you don't have the discipline? But I'm going to take these 3 strategies. I'm going to put them on these sticky notes and I'm going to implement them in my life. And then, well, guess what? You show up next week and you see the next guest, or you see my solo show and you take the next 3 strategies and the next 3 strategies. And then in 3 months, 6 months, a year. Yes, it's going to take time. However old you are, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. I have a gamut of people that watch this show. But think about this in a year. Like, I'm just tripping out right now. It's Halloween already. It's been a year. How much have I grown in a year? In God's honest truth, I have not grown as much as I normally do. And am I disappointed? A little bit. But am I proud of the things I've grown in? Yes. And do I know there's going to be more exponential growth next time? Because now I realize that I should have been doing a little bit more. So I'm inviting you to do a little bit more tonight. Do a little bit more for yourself. Stop blaming other people. Stop blaming and living in the victim of your past, because tonight's conversation is going to change your perspective just a little bit, and just a little bit, and just a little bit. And if you change your perspective, guess what? You will start to change your results. And you will start to live a beautiful life, because I got to meet my guest, not necessarily in person, but I got to meet her. And she is a beautiful representation of what is possible. Think about that. What's possible? So many times we're always saying, I always screw this up and I never do this. And I will try to do better. Eliminate those 3 words: always, never, and try. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Because life is short. I just consoled a friend of mine today who lost her husband yesterday. It sucks. And life will pass you like that. Hear that? Life is passing right now. Are you going to be the one that goes, oh, that was my life. Oh, that was my life. Oh, that was my life. Or are you going to be the person that says, you know what? No more. No more of listening to the people that are holding me back. No more of the blaming that I'm going to do. I'm going to take responsibility for my life, and I'm going to keep my promises to myself. Ladies and gentlemen, please be prepared for this conversation. Write down 3 strategies from Malaysia. What's up, girlfriend? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Christopher. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a long time coming, so I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have to turn my ceiling fan on. God's honest truth. I am hot as hell.
Yes,
I have been going like
I got
crazy.
My fan.
I've been going crazy for the last couple of hours, and I've been super excited about this conversation because you and I met through our mutual friend, Larry Broughton, who I love to pieces. I've known the guy for, 13 years now.
Yeah.
But I was so impressed with your testimony about your life and the way you own your life. So my first question to you tonight is, what do you want people to take most from this conversation? You heard me talk about the preface of the show. You heard me talk about there's only moments and the fact that we have to take a responsibility for our life. And I know you have. So what do you want to get across to people most tonight? And let's have that conversation.
Tonight, let me think. I always have to get my spiritual wisdom. But I think tonight, there's so much going on in the world, and it feels like, if you're looking at society, you're looking at the media, that there's this big divisiveness that's going on. And I had 3 podcast interviews before this today. And one of the big things is I was saying that we need unity.
Yes.
So we're looking at ourselves, but it's like someone's saying, well, the leaders are doing this. I'm like, it starts with you. Like, if my parents are doing something crazy, that doesn't mean I have to do something. I can model what the love and the joy that I want to see in this world. And we were talking about 9/11 and how the world was so, everybody just kind of came together during that time. And I'm like, do we have to wait until things get terrible to really unite as one? And I'm like, we're all one. Like, so that's the message I'm getting tonight. The download is unity.
You girl, I swear to God, from the depths of my heart, I believe that wholeheartedly. So many people are so divided. I was at a Imagine Dragons concert on Saturday night here in Southern California at the Hollywood Bowl. My son wanted to go there. I don't know the band. And I was sitting, and I still get fucking chills. I swear to God, I'm getting chills. There's 20,000 people in the place, and we're all singing the same song. And I know that 50% of us on Facebook are like this. Meh, 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 meh. But I'm like, in unity, there's a lot of love. Yes. So tell me, why is that so important to you? Why is that so important to you when so many people are so divided and they think that they're right? Why is it so not important to be right?
Well, when you talked about it, when you were opening up the show and you were saying that you don't have tomorrow, you only have today, and our time, we have a scripted time in this realm on earth. And because I was in a position where I almost lost my life, I just look at things completely different now, because my thought process is, and and I talk to my clients about the same thing, is if this was your last day, that's what I really go off now.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about, oh, I'd be at Disney. No, 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 that's not what I mean. Anything that you are doing, any conversation that you are having, if this was your last day, would you be doing this? So even with me talking with you, I would be talking with you. I would be on this show, inspiring the world the way we're doing. And so that's the way, we have to be. And I think it's really important because, we're divided. But again, people think they have time. Oh, and you talked about your friend who lost, her husband, and, my
Yep. Cynthia.
condolences go out to her and her family. But
Thank you.
that's real. That is so real. And we've seen that in the past couple of years. It's been even more rampant after, the pandemic. And so it's like we have to unite now. We have to and do anything that makes you happy today as if this was your last day. And that's how I live my life now.
So tell me about this, Malaysia, because I remember a little bit of your story. Why? Let me think about this. So tell us about your worst day and what you learned the most about that, because I think that will really break people's hearts open to what's possible, because people are looking at you right now and seeing you on camera going, holy shit, she's beautiful. She's composed. She is gorgeous. She's this well-spoken person. But where did you come from and what did you learn in that process to make you the person that you are today?
Well, that's a really good question. Look, we could be on for hours for that one.
Oh, I told you it was going to be 3 hours.
But so me, like a lot of other people, grew up in poverty, grew up, with a lot of violence, domestic
Yeah.
violence, physical, emotional, sexual abuse. And I was forced to grow up at a very young age. And honestly, I tell people, I'm like, it made me a beast. It made me ready for the streets. It made me ready for the military and all these things. And that, I wore that as a badge of honor. And so when you talk about what I learned, I learned that, yes, I was resilient, but I also learned that, I want to experience the humanistic side of the experience, and not
Yeah.
just because I know I can get anything. I know I can prove to the people who, mistreated me. I know we've already done that. And so when does it become a sense of I'm at peace though? Or I'm just continuously trying to wear this mask and outdo people and show you how great I am. And so that's what I learned. And, going into the military after 9/11, again, that was the day that I saw the second plane, go into the tower. Now, let me take you back, because I used to go to the Twin Towers every year with junior ROTC in high school.
Whoa.
So it was big. We came to DC every year, the White House, the Pentagon. This was again before 9/11. And so it really instilled a lot in me, the world, from that perspective. I wanted to influence the world in leadership. I thought I'd be a senator, all of these things. And in one moment, not only is the world impacted, but you thought like, oh my goodness, that was part of my childhood. That was part of my youth,
Yep.
and it could be gone in a second. And so
True.
that was really important. And moving up to 2020, I'm at the height of my career. I made captain Navy rank, so equivalent to colonel. I got married in 2016. So I had all the things that on the list that you said you needed to have: the house, the
Right.
car, the husband, all the things, traveling the world. And it wasn't until the pandemic and I deployed that I really realized how sacred life was, not only for me and my experience, but the people who I encountered during my deployment. And so when I came back home, and I had a near death experience. And so you talked about my
Well, tell us about
worst
that.
day.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
So I get home from deployment, and Christopher, this was a really spiritual experience, and it was dark. I will say that from what I
Yeah.
observed. on my deployment to the Navajo Nation and the amount of people who died and the stories that I heard, and my safety was at risk even being there. And they sent me by myself. And so I
By
started to
yourself.
have this, yes, yeah, to that
Whoa.
location. They sent 6 of us to, different locations, but that was something that I thought, you shouldn't send anyone by themselves to that location. But anyway, so I got through that, and we know resilience, right? What do? We work out.
Yeah.
So I had my workout stuff, and I couldn't go outside. It was, we were on lockdown 7 days a week. There was no resources there to get to Walmart. It was like a 3-hour situation. And so what I did was I worked out. I did I knew what some of the things that I needed to do. And when I came home or about to come home, I was having, I would say, acute stress reaction, because I was in a situation where I was questioning my existence, as far as, I'm out here and they're saying, oh, go back to DC and tell them what's going on. And it was so much stuff going on, so much political on top of everything that was happening with COVID. I was sent there without any immunizations, no PPE. I had to get stuff when I got there. And so it was like, is this real? You know how when you start to question,
yeah, right.
like,
Seriously, am I being put through this? Yeah.
Yeah. And so, no, but it's not even like, so what was I going to go there and do? I mean, I did my job, but it was like, really? Is this a joke? Like, what am I doing?
Right.
And so I was really questioning myself, as far, I thought I've been serving, and I'm like, are we really serving, or are we appearing that we're serving? There were things
Is this
that I
smoke
just
and
didn't
mirrors? Am I on candid
understand.
camera? No, I've had a lot of friends of mine in deployment who have sat there and said, am I being punked?
Right.
Like, am I being punked? I've had tons and tons of friends tell me that. Am I being punked right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. But it was so dark. I saw so much darkness, and I have, we all have spiritual gifts, but I felt it very highly. I felt it so seriously. And so when I got home, again, I'm working out. I did a lot of races, bodybuilding. So that's what I do. That's what I know, to get off the stress. And
Right.
so one day I tried to get up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't get up. And I was in so much pain that I couldn't walk. So I crawled to the bathroom. I didn't want to wake my husband. He's a retired veteran as well. And so I get in the bathroom. I can't get up. So I'm just on the floor crying. Right. And he comes in and he's like, Malaysia, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't walk. I don't know. I'm in extreme pain. So I tried to treat it at home myself. Again, I did a lot of races, marathons, and so the heat, the cold, taking the ibuprofen, Tiger Balm, all the things, nothing worked. And so one day we called the ambulance. They took me to a medical center. It wasn't a hospital. They took an x-ray, didn't see anything, gave me morphine, and sent me home. Okay. Again,
Seriously.
nothing, it's not broke. So I'm okay. So I get home, and again, the next couple, it was getting so bad. Like the pain was unfathomable, like unlivable pain. So my husband, he's like, no, we're going to the military hospital. So he brought me to Andrew. I was screaming coming down the stairs. Like I had to hold on to him, but I was screaming for dear life. So we get to the hospital. They transfer me to Walter Reed, and I'm admitted.
That place
And
is a
Walter
joke.
Reed is,
It's a joke. I saw the documentary.
That's
I
a
saw the
whole
documentary. That place is a
thing.
joke.
Well, when you experience it yourself for real,
Is
you're
it not
like,
a joke?
oh. Well,
I saw the documentary. That was
let me tell
horrible.
you, and then you tell me.
That was
So I'm there,
horrible.
and it's a training hospital. And so, they had all these students coming in. They couldn't figure out. It was like an anomaly. It was like the house show, that show House, and they're trying to look at what's going on. They couldn't figure it out. And so they come in, and after the 4th day, now they're giving me Dilaudid. So that's, I think, higher than morphine, like
That's higher.
whatever
That's
was
my
the
mom
amount
is
of
on that.
time.
Yep.
And the pain didn't subside at all. So that's when I knew spiritually that I was transitioning. And I knew it, but I couldn't. How do you articulate that? Because, so let me tell you, the doctor comes in and he says, Captain Harrell, we can't find anything. We're sending you home today. What?
You're like,
I'm
are you
not.
fucking serious?
Yeah, I said, oh, you can euthanize me. Get the paperwork. I said, you wouldn't be able to deal with this pain. Nobody would be able to deal with this pain. He's like, well, let's send in a psychiatrist because you just got home from deployment. I said, I'm a mental health provider. I've been doing mental health almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So if this is a somatic symptom, then let's figure it out. Bring a psychiatrist in.
Right.
So
Let's
I
go.
couldn't act like a patient because I thought they were going to send me, to the mental health ward and they weren't going to treat
Admit
me.
you and shut you up.
So
That's what they
they
do.
ended up taking a sample out of that
Sample of
hip.
what? Your blood?
No, the hip, because they took all the blood. I was poked, prodded. They took all the imaging. They couldn't find anything. Christopher, after they took the sample, they took this big needle, fluoroscopy, put it all the way in my hip, took a sample, about 20, 30 minutes. Everybody's running in the room, get her ready for surgery. Me and my husband are scared, like, what's going on? You said you were sending me home.
Right.
I had a septic hip.
Oh, shit.
I had a septic hip. And they were going to send me home with a septic hip. And after
You would have
that,
died.
I would have died in days.
Yeah.
I would have died
Yeah.
there in the hospital. If in
True.
a couple of days, I would have been dead.
Yeah.
If not that day, I don't know.
Sepsis. I mean, that's crazy, especially when it's infected with part of your bones. It gets into your lymphatic system.
It did.
Yeah.
Yep.
You are.
So it's been a long journey, but I think that was the day. You know how, especially for people who are the strong ones, they're the martyrs, then they say, ask for help. And you ask for help. Again, we have approximately 22 suicides a day in our veteran community. You ask for help and you tell me that you don't believe, you basically say you don't believe me. And you send in a psychiatrist. I'm not going to want to ask for help from, anything. And you're like, wait a minute. If you don't want me and I don't want to be here because I'm in so much pain, then why am I here? So now I have a different level of empathy for my clients and my patients that I've served because I experienced it firsthand. And I believe there's a reason for that, spiritually, right? And you got to experience it. Yeah.
1,000%. I'm in the process of re-editing my book for the third time with another editor. And I'm going back to my process of rereading my life story. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I do that? How did I do that as a 9-year-old kid? How did I do that as an 11-year-old kid?
Yes.
But the thing we're talking about right now is fear. Like so many times we get caught in a state of fear, in a state of panic, in a state of victimhood. Yes. So for people who are listening tonight, Malaysia, what do you say to people who are afraid of judgment? They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of making a mistake, which so many people are paralyzed waiting for perfection. When this is right, and when this is right, and when this is right, and when that's right, and when that's right, then I will be happy. What do you say to those people that are watching us tonight? Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can speak to those people through their soul. And that's what this show is all about, is like getting people to sit there and go, you know what? Hey, oh my God, I'm not going to do that anymore. And now I'm going to see my results change. I'm going to see myself feel better. I'm going to see myself feel stronger. I'm going to see myself get stronger. I'm going to stop tolerating the bullshit in my life. I'm going to start making changes, and I'm going to start really, truly living as opposed to waiting for someday, because so many people wait for someday and it never comes. So what would you say to those people that are watching tonight?
This is so good, because a lot of people deal with this same issue. Like, I was talking with somebody earlier who was dealing with the exact same issue, and it's not like really a hashtag, but when I was at my darkest, right, when I thought I was left on the side of the road and nobody cared about me, and I was no longer working for the Surgeon General of the United States and having all the big titles and had to give up my career because of, what happened to me. I thought, like, oh my goodness, they knew me as this perfect person. I had all these accolades. You could look at, I had my ceremony. It was like glorious. Okay. Medal down, And so, but it was like, when you are in a position, and I pray people don't have to face this, but many of us will, you're going to come against a situation where it's you against you. Yes. Because there's going to be no one else around. All the people who wanted you and called you because of what you had to offer them, or, you know, what you could do for them. Maybe you could make a phone call or write a letter, you know, and get them that job that they really wanted, or you could make a phone call to this high level official. When that goes away, it's you against you. So I think we don't really face our true selves because
Why not?
we're
Why
wearing a
not?
mask.
Why not? Why don't we face our true selves?
It's
Why are so many people scared
uncomfortable.
of that?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable because the world, so before the world put all these things in your head, when you were, you know, little Christopher, and you
Yeah,
were this badass, and you were this person, and you wanted to do all the fun things that you wanted to do, you know, and I can see that you have adapted that. So I'm sure you console your inner child because you live, you know, your life, and you live in bliss, and you celebrate your family. You said, okay, I know I got this call, but this is what I'm gonna do with my family, this call, and I'm gonna do what I need to do to make it work. And
yep,
so, you know, there's something that came on in your world, some light bulb that said this is bliss. We are so used to living in pain. The world shows you so much pain. Your family has shown you so much pain, and whatever else you've been through. And so it's easier to feel pain because that's what you're used to. And so we
certainty.
don't really know that we're worthy of feeling bliss. We don't even know what that is.
How can we feel more worthy? Because I think what you're saying, Malaysia, is so fucking spot on. I talked to 100+ people during COVID. It was my way of giving you a gift pack to people. I said, I will give you a free coaching session, no charge, no nothing. Just want to reach out to you sitting at your house by yourself. And God's honest truth, I swear to God, I heard this whisper. I heard this whisper that said, ask them this question. And I was like, that's a fucking ridiculous question. In my brain, I'm having this conversation while I'm talking just like this. And I sat there and I said, okay, I'll play along. And I said, Malaysia, I'm going to ask you a yes or no question. And I don't want you to think about this. Do you love yourself? Yes or no? And so many people went, I think so. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get are you fucking really? You're a coach and you're going to ask me that? Like, of course. I mean, I love myself, but I may not like myself. But so many people in Malaysia struggle to love themselves. And I'm like, but let me ask you this next question. You expect that people are going to love you and accept you and want you to be in their job or be in their life or be their friend. I'm like, how can you expect that without doing it for yourself? So my question for you, which I know you're going to answer perfectly, how do we love ourselves more in those times of challenge? We may think back on our past and think, well, maybe I deserve that. Maybe I deserve that, whatever it might be. Fill in the blank for whoever is listening and whatever your situation is. How do we love ourselves more? And how do we let go of the pseudo blame and the figurative responsibility of that it was my fault when it really wasn't?
Yeah. That's so important, and I'm so excited for the work that you continue to do and the light
Thank
that
you.
you continue to
I
shine,
tried.
because not many of us want to be here a lot of times, and people
No,
don't
I know.
admit
I've been
that.
there.
And so I think for me, when I was going through the darkest time, no, I couldn't love myself. I couldn't love anyone. I couldn't love anything. I was in pain. But you know what I realized is when I had a connection with God, when I had a connection with the divine, that's where it starts. So
Yeah.
it's not easy to say, oh, just love yourself. If you don't have a spiritual connection, that's where I had to go deep. It wasn't in this talking realm. It was none of this. Talk therapy is really good, but if you don't do the spiritual work, I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna keep running on that hamster wheel. You have to have some connection with a higher power, a higher source, higher above yourself,
Right.
whatever that means for you. And if you don't have that, you may love yourself a little bit here, but then, when you know that you are loved by a higher being, and I was talking about this earlier, you are a miracle.
Yep.
You're not a robot. No one put you together. Like, you were created in this. So when you think about creation and how you came to be, How is that? That's unfathomable, right? I mean, we know scientifics that it happens, but really? So there must be some reason. So once you get the connection and then asking what your true purpose is, the reason why we are so miserable is because we're not in alignment with our divine assignment. And so you found it. When you come on here, I feel the energy. It comes through. It comes through the scene. It comes through the universe.
Well, somebody just commented. She goes, Hillary just said, she goes, I love the backlighting of both of your screens. And that backlighting is not the lighting, it's our fucking energy of how passionate we are about life. So thank you, Hillary, for being here.
Thank you, Hillary. Yes, I have my angel. Me and Robbie Cornelius worked together to come up with the name of my community. And so I always, he's no longer with us in this realm. So I always think of him and keep this on. But yes, it is so, so important to be in alignment with your assignment. So a lot of us, we're like dreading going to work. We're getting sick. Our bodies, we can't think. We have digestive issues. We have chronic pain. We have all of these issues. And we're like, could it be related to what you're doing? And you think, oh, well, it's just my boss. No, your life is your responsibility. And when I was put up against the wall with me against me, this is the deal that I made with God. And I basically said, I either want to live or I either want to die. And I know we don't truly die. We transition to another realm. But when I mean live, I mean live. The thing about it is I can be miserable all day, but what if I tried to do something different and live the life of my dreams? I have that opportunity to try. I can recreate myself. I had Bell's palsy, Christopher. My face was drooping all the way down. I was 254 pounds after taking all the meds, the oral chemo, the prednisone. What?
Damn.
And that was in 20. So that started in 2020. This is 2024. And look at me now. Guess what I did? So I did face yoga. I did all these things, but I started learning how to do my makeup. I said, I don't feel good about myself. Let me figure it out. If there's a day, it's not until you hit, I think for some people, when they hit that rock bottom, when I couldn't get out of bed, when I couldn't take showers, because I had 9 surgeries in the past 4 years. And you can't, take showers right away in these big surgeries. Wait a minute. I get to get up. I get to make my bed. I get to take a shower. I get to look pretty.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Pretty, you're gorgeous.
Thank you. But once you're up against that wall, again, it's you against you. Either you're gonna make a decision to change your life, or because no one's coming to save you. I'm talking even the doctors, you think, oh, they're gonna save my life. Now they did in one instance, but I was so broken and I was in so much darkness that I was like, this isn't living just because I'm breathing. I worked in the prison system in the correction officer. And when you took count, you had to have living, breathing bodies. So it couldn't.
Malaysia, I have to pause you for a second. I have to do this. What you're saying is perfect. And I have a perfect follow-up question, but
okay.
There's somebody who wants to say hi. We're live, buddy. We're live.
Hi.
This is my son, Jackson. He just came in to bring me some French fries.
Hi, Jackson.
He knows I'm starving.
He's so cute. How was the pumpkin patch?
Hi, Malaysia.
Say hi, Malaysia.
Nice to meet you.
Say, how was the pumpkin patch? Was it awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
talk
good.
Talk about being the light of my life. This little man is the light of my life. I love him.
So nice to meet you, Jackson.
She said, so nice to meet you. I don't know if you can hear her. Can you say thank you?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say it's nice to meet you too.
It's nice to meet you too.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you.
I love you. I'll be down in a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you for the French fries.
Got some Wendy's.
Oh boy, thank you.
You ordered you some food.
Oh, thank you. You're the best.
Now that's it. That's joy.
And especially because I can say this, I mean, he knows this, but we adopted him from birth. We couldn't have kids naturally. So he is the truest blessing in the form of whatever religion, whatever spiritual thing you want to believe in.
Right.
He literally, we went with a new adoption agency, and 9 months after we went with the new adoption agency, he was born, and his parents, his biological parents, picked us. And so that's why, I mean, the beauty of life. So, but what you were just talking about, Malaysia, is so massively important, because so many people will come to me and say, Chris, and I caught myself doing this about 7 years ago. I caught myself saying, I did the best I could. I did the best I could. And what you're talking about, I mean, is resiliency. It's discipline. It's fucking picking yourself up off the floor when you are miserable and there's nobody else around to go, come on, Malaysia. Come on, Malaysia. You're the person that says, hey, listen, I got to pick myself up. I have to take another shower. I have to learn these new things. But so many people are saying they're doing the best they can when it's bullshit, when there's always so much more. There's so much more that people are capable of, but they write these scripts in their brain that like, oh, this is all I can do. And I hear it all the time. Like, Chris, I hear it every fucking day. Chris, I will try to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work out. And I said, are you going to try or are you going to do it? End of story. Are you going to try or are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Are you going to try or are you going to do it? And I say that over and over and over again until they go, I'm going to do it. And I said, are you fucking promising me on your kid's life that you're going to do it? Yes. And guess what? After 7 days of them getting up and going, I don't want to do it, but I did it because I don't want to report to Chris that I didn't do it. They go, oh, I didn't realize I could do it because I've told myself my entire fucking life that I can't do it. Right. So what would you say right now, given the resiliency and the amount of sheer negative consequence, I guess it would be, what would you say to people who are right now saying, I'm doing the best I can? What would you say to them, Malaysia?
Well, you know, again, when we talk about alignment, it's a spiritual process. And so it's not just resiliency, because it's not me that's doing this. It's not, if it was just
a little bit, come on, take ownership. You're doing it. You are doing it. God, source, universe is helping you, but you are the person that's deciding.
But I've taken on that aura. So now we can get really deep.
Oh, let's go.
So I was in darkness because I felt disconnected from God. And when I felt disconnected from God, I felt like I wasn't worthy of life. And so when I had that connection, because you are made in the image and likeness of God,
true,
you're on that realm of God. I'm not saying you are God, but I'm saying you were made in the image and likeness. So when you put yourself in that realm, it changed. It's not just Malaysia anymore. It's not my purpose per se that I'm here. I have a higher calling. So when I allowed that to come into fruition, when I allowed the messages to come, when I was open, when I surrendered, I had to get this tattooed on my arm, the art of surrender.
No, seriously, let me see that. Put it up closer. So you seriously have a phrase on your arm.
The art of surrender.
Oh, come on now. Let's see. I had that one that says, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. And then I have that one that says, what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger.
Yes.
So we are related somehow. See?
Yes, we are. We all are. We're all connected to source. And so when you allow source to come inside you, then it's not on your own merit anymore. It's not just Malaysia. It's like, I'm doing my divine assignment now. That's a different calling than saying I'm putting on a uniform, I'm signing this dotted line. No, I'm leaving my legacy and I'm coming to do the job that I came to do on this earth. That puts you in a different realm. Now it's not like, oh, I can't get up. When you take on that challenge, it's not going to be easy. But again, it's more of a spiritual calling, as opposed to, if you just look in what's in front of you, you're going to be like, life sucks.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This sucks. So you have to stay away from everything that reminds you of this and remind you of what this is. And
your
so
big
whatever
why.
that
Your
is,
big why. When you have a big why, you have a big how, right?
Yes. Period.
So what's your why? When you think about all the things you've been through, being on deployment, experiencing all these different traumatic experiences, what is Malaysia's why? And what can we do to inspire other people to sit there and say, my why isn't just to survive. My why isn't just to make it through another day. How can we inspire people to find that why for themselves, to become clearer in their true purpose of why they're here? Because I know for me and I'll share this with you, the God's honest truth, I've been successful a majority of my life. I went through a lot of stuff. I tried to kill myself twice. I fortunately sucked at it. I was in the 7th grade. I had to drop out. I was homeless. I had a gun put to my head. I was carjacked. I had all these horrible experiences. I was on drugs. My story is literally coming out next year. I was working on the edits today.
Good. I can't wait to see it.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's phenomenal. I mean, I'm blessed to be here to talk to you. I really am. And I look at, like you said, you kept saying the word get. I heard you saying we get to do this, right? We get to do this.
Yes.
But in 2008, I was at a funeral and I was very successful on paper. I made 6 figures. I was very successful. I did speaking and coaching and I did all these different things. But internally, there was something missing. There was something that was empty. And I went to a funeral of one of my coworkers, which I always go to funerals, whether I know the person or not. If somebody invites me, I go because I feel like there's a message for me to get. I don't know why, but I always go to funerals. I don't like it, but I go to the funeral. And I was sitting in the very back of the church because I really didn't know anybody except for my coworkers. And my friend gets up there and he starts blubbering and crying. And I thought to myself, and I'm sure you can recognize this, and I hope people take this to heart, but I recognized that, wow, I knew this person. She was one of the sales reps in our sales department. I was in the operations department. I thought, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? And I was 32, 34 at the time. I'm now 55. And I thought, oh my God, 10 or 15 people show up with Miller Genuine Draft and Jack Daniels, which is funny because I never wear the shirt. And they would talk about all the stupid shit Chris did. Oh my God, remember that time he got drunk and did that? Remember that time he did this? Remember that time he did this? Remember that time he did that? And then the postscript would be, yeah, Chris was a 7th grade dropout who wrote a book that changed the world, became a movie, and changed everybody's life. And I thought, is that really how I want the majority of my life to be remembered, of the party animal and the fuck up that Chris was? And then all of a sudden he changed the world. And so I went home, God's honest truth, and I sat there and I took, because I'm a big fan of paper, there's the paper right in front of me. And I wrote my eulogy at 32, 33, 30, whatever it was. And I wrote my eulogy and I wrote it out and I went to the end of the paper and I was like, all right, I did that, whatever. I'm going to go on to the next thing. And I said, no, Chris, you wrote it. You have to read it, because I'm a very good writer. And normally I write stuff and I don't proof it. And I sat there and I went, all right. And I went and got a glass of water and I was like, I'm like, no, Chris, if it was a fucking funeral, you would read it out loud. So, okay, we're gathered here today that remember the life of Christopher Rausch, blah, blah, blah. And I got to this part where it said, Christopher Rausch will have fought for what's right and what's fair. He will have risked for what's that mattered. And he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And I started crying in my house by myself, 3-bedroom house that I still own today. And I rent it. I started crying, not boohooing, but I was like, why am I crying? And I'm like, if I get the opportunity to leave that message for people rather than being the party, the guy and the fuck up and everything else, but still a man of change. I'm like, how beautiful is that? And from that moment on, Malaysia, every single day, ever since then, for 20 fucking years, whatever it is, I wake up with the gift of saying, how can I fight for what's right and what's fair? How can I risk for what's that mattered? How can I make this world a better place for who I am? So for you, can you say it in a different sense of words of how we can get people to find their why? Because so many people are just trying to survive this thing called life.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think we could say to people to get them to find their why?
Well, I think they have to want it. I mean, you can just say, hey, what's my why? But again, it's a spiritual process. It's not like you open up a book and, you read something. It's like, oh, that's my, it is a process of becoming. So once you decide that you do want your why, you have to become the highest, or work to become the highest version of yourself. Because if you're someone who's in darkness and you're already overwhelmed and you see a glimpse of your future and what your why is, you'll be too overwhelmed to even fathom, being able to take on the assignment. So you're not gonna get it when you're not ready for it. So what I would say is to start preparing for it. So if you knew what your why was, and who would you be as a person if you were the highest version of yourself? So it's like I'm sitting, like you said, people are like, oh, I'm sad, I'm down. Who do you want to be? And what would that person look like? When you talked about having people write things down, write it, script it. And so when you work towards becoming that's when the unfolding occurs, because now I've taken on the assignment to say, I want to get ready. So, when you have people who do races or bodybuilding shows, doesn't it take a lot of work to get there? You're saying,
Jesus Christ,
I want the prize. I want the trophy. I want the crown. I want the tiara. You just sitting here saying, I want the tiara. That's my why. I'm not going to get that. I need to go to the gym. I need to lift these weights. I need to eat right. I need to get my mind right. I need to stay away from people who are putting negativity in my environment, because I need my strength to do this. It's the same thing when it comes to, becoming who you want to be, who's the highest version. And I'm going to tell you what, that's when it starts to happen. But be careful, because when you ask the question and things are going to happen and you're going to be like, my life is falling apart. All those things need to happen. And it's like a tornado needs to come through to move all these things so that you can walk in the light.
Yep. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
For you.
And the hero's journey, which is on YouTube for anybody watching who are new to the show. I talk about all the time, Joseph Campbell's story, the hero's journey. Yes. You will find a representation of all the movies and everything that we love, because we're rooting for the underdog, and we're all secretly the underdog. And we're like, oh my God, I hope Luke Skywalker gets it. I hope blah, blah, blah. I hope the fucking, whatever it is, we hope we all get it. So
that's right.
We've been going already for 47 minutes, and I could talk to you for another 3 years. Yeah, seriously. I told you it was going to go by fast. I told you. Wow. I mean, I could talk to you for hours and hours upon hours. I have like 17 different questions I could ask you right now. But let's think about this. Right now, we're in a world that here in the United States, we're in 28 different countries. So we got people watching from all over the world. But right now, here in the United States, we have a political election that is coming up. And I think 9 days, I can't even keep track. I don't pay attention to it. I try not to. But if you look on social media, if you look on the news, whatever news you watch, 50% of us don't care for each other. 50% of us are disagreeing, and it's all this other bullshit. What is your message tonight for people to bring that unity? Because you started off the show talking about unity. You talked about you've talked about your personal trajectory of going through those experiences in your life to be this beautiful, amazing person who's been on 4 podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, already today on the East Coast. What message do you have for people to find that light within themselves, to find that joy and that love, mostly for themselves, but also for humanity?
Stop watching the TV. No.
Yes.
Well, you have. So again, when we talked about finding your highest version or your purpose, right? So if you imagined a world that you wanted to live in, that you want to grow, and maybe you don't have it where you love yourself as much, but you have children, you have parents, you have spouses, you have loved ones, you have mates. How would you want the world for the person that you love the most? And if you want that world, who's going to make that world happen? So it starts with you. You can invite your neighbor over, or, bake cookies for, or bring bread or whatever it is, being the coach for your son's team. What is that you're demonstrating what you want to see? It starts with us, honestly. And so if I feel I don't care what your color is, I don't care what your creed, your gender, your cult, your background, your ethnicity, none of that matters, because there is only one race, which is the human race.
Human race. Yep.
And so when tragedies occur, everybody's coming together. Do you even know who your neighbors are? Do you like? I literally go and walk and bring gifts to each neighbor's mailbox during the holiday season. You know, whatever.
Oh,
Each year
sweetheart.
they get something different. They get surprised. But I imagine and I visualize. Where we live now, I call it the Christmas neighborhood. You know, a neighborhood that you would watch in a Christmas movie. That's
Yeah.
where I always dreamed of this, even from a little girl. And so it was like now I dream about what I would want to see in my neighbors. So I have to be that person. I can't expect, you know, when I'll bring them back things when we come back from trips, bring them chocolate, something small. I'm not bringing, you know.
Right.
So it starts with you, and it doesn't. So I don't get involved when people start talking that negative. This person, I don't engage in that because everybody behaves badly at some point. Am I going to keep that energy and bring that up more, or am I going to give energy to the love, to the grace? You know, if something happened and we were together right now, how are we going to take care of each other? It doesn't matter what we came up with or what we believe or what political party. So I'm just saying it starts with you. Do something kind for someone else, buy somebody a coffee, you know, open the door for someone, help them across, whatever it is, do something nice. And I'm telling you, that energy, it spills over. You notice when somebody pays for your meal, then you either pay for someone else's or another day. That's how it starts, you know. Ellen DeGeneres, she was always, you know, giving people things, and you know, me and my sister were on her show, so I always think of that acts of kindness, you know. And so that's all you need to do is do acts of kindness. Let people talk, but don't engage in that stuff. Do not engage in it.
Malaysia, you are amazing. We got our sister Lynn Serrano in the house. She goes,
Hey,
preach it, sister.
Yes,
What's
Lynn.
up? So you know Lynn?
Yeah, we were all with Rob, you know, and Robbie Cornelius's mastermind during COVID. That's how we all met.
She's like, hey, my peeps, love you both so much.
Yes, I love you too.
I call her big sister. She calls me little brother. Not that I'm little.
A lot of us started on Clubhouse. I think a lot of us met originally on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And that's kind of during COVID. And then that's how we all kind of, you know, met in different ways. And so, yes.
What a trip. What a beautiful world that we all get to experience. Yes, Clubhouse.
Yes,
that's why I think I met her. Clubhouse was something I did not want to be a part of. And then I had two different friends who I respect highly in December of 2022, when my thoughts of humanity were really rapidly declining. And my two friends messaged me within an hour and said, Chris, you need to be on this app. And that was when it was still invite only. And and I went on there and I was like, holy shit, we can all be in a room and like not judge each other. This is fucking amazing. So this has been an amazing conversation. We've been going for 53 minutes. I always try to keep it under an hour. Where can people continue the conversation with you, Malaysia? You have been such an inspiration, such a beautiful voice of joy, a voice of discipline, a voice of determination, a voice of not being a product of your own thoughts or anybody else's thoughts or environment. Where can people continue to get this information from you and get to connect with you?
Thank you, Christopher. So I am on most social media platforms. I engage mostly on Instagram at Malaysia Harrell. And
can you spell that for people who are listening right now?
Yes. So that's at MALAYSIAHHARRELL. And I have a live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States called Tiny Miracles. So us like you, Christopher, we talk about people who've gone through triumphs, through traumas, through challenges, but there were little tiny miracles that were sprinkled throughout that process that either led them to their life of their dreams or living in their divine assignment. And of course, you can also reach me on my website, www.malaysiaharrell.com. Please stay in touch, get on my listserv. And I have a book also that'll be coming out called God Has My Six. It's my teaching memoir about my life journey and overcoming and using the holistic wellness and spirituality to heal myself. So I'm so excited to stay connected with you all. And Christopher, you have been so gracious. I thank you for this opportunity and thank you for the light that you are shining in this world.
Thank you, my sister. I appreciate you so much. This has been such a tremendous conversation. I can't wait for more and more people to hear this and listen to this. We're live right now on the video cast, which a lot of people show up to. A lot of people show up to on the East Coast tomorrow morning. But this has been such an amazing conversation to have with you. I'll make sure that all of these links are within the podcast so people can check them out as they're listening, as they're driving. But I'm going to place you backstage right now and I'm going to finish out the show, but don't go anywhere so I can still have a moment with you. But this has been a beautiful experience that I am so blessed to have had with you.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my dear. Don't go anywhere. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have been talking now for 56 minutes. Lynn Serrano, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing it. I appreciate you, sister. We have to catch up too. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, the beginning of this conversation, I invite you, whether you came in at the beginning or towards the middle or towards the end, go back and watch the beginning and then write down 3 strategies that you're going to take from this conversation, because there is without a doubt in my soul that I know each of you can take something from this and enact it in your life. And it won't be easy. Malaysia said that, right? So many people want easy. But Chris, it's going to be hard. Every fucking day I hear, Chris, it's going to be hard. It's going to be so hard. It's going to suck. It's going to take forever. But guess what? How long did it take you to get to this point? Most of the people that watch my show, I look at the demographics. Most of you guys are 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. Mostly 40, 50, 60. Some of you guys are a little bit younger. Some of you guys are a little bit older. How long did it take you to get to this spot where you're watching this right now? Because you're watching it for a reason. You're watching this for a reason. You're listening to this for a reason. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And there have been so many times in my own particular life, I have listened to thousands of podcasts, watched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of YouTube. I have had coaches. I still have coaches. I have mentors. I surround myself with people who are brighter and smarter than me, who I can go to and say, you know what? I feel like I'm fucking tired and I'm pissed off and I'm frustrated. And they'll say, Chris, what message are you left here to still deliver? How are you going to show the power of tenacity? How are you going to show the power of no excuses? How are you going to show the power of love? And I love what Malaysia said, right? I speak this on stage all the time. I don't give a shit whether you're black, white, straight, gay, Republican, Democrat, fat, short, whatever fucking label you want to put on it. You split us down the middle. Guess what? Think about this. We're all the same. I donate blood every 8 weeks. I'm type A negative. I'm one of the highest improbable blood sources, but every single time I donate blood, within 4 to 5 days, I get a message on my phone, because I do it here in Southern California with Livestream. I get a message that says, Chris, your blood was just used in a transfusion, usually at Hemet Valley Regional Hospital. I don't care who the person is. I care that my blood was able to save somebody else's life. Again, stop looking at people with labels. The world is an amazing, beautiful fucking place. I know people from all over the world. I know from people from Asia. I know from people from India. I know people from Russia. I know people in Australia. I know people everywhere. I have traveled the world. Last 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I went to Italy. I met people from all over the world. And guess what? We're all more the same than we are different. All more the same than we are different. I'm so tired of seeing people post stupid shit about their political candidate or their belief about vaccinations or whatever it might be. Guess what? We all pretty much want the same stuff. And you're sitting there listening to this, watching this. You have this opportunity right now to go, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to treat myself like shit. I'm not going to tell myself that I always screw up and I never will find the person and I'll try to be better. How about if you just stop saying try and you just fucking do it? Aren't you at a point in your life where you're ready to do it? If you're overweight, stop putting the shit in your mouth. Stop putting the drink in your mouth. Stop putting the cigarette in your mouth. Start taking that next step. I'm going to take 1 step today. Tomorrow, I'm going to take 2 steps. The next day, I'm going to take 3 steps. Tomorrow, I'm going to take 4 steps. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm going to continue to get stronger. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be overnight. You heard Malaysia's story. Like, seriously, think about that. Bell's palsy, half of her, you just saw her. She's gorgeous because she fought and she said, no, not me, not today, not this motherfucker right here. But you could sit there and choose to be in your victim status, and you can choose to sit there and play the someday game. Chris, when someday, when this is right and that's right and that's right. My friend just lost her husband yesterday. I've had more people lose loved ones in the last couple of weeks than I can even fucking count. And you think you're going to live forever? You think your legacy is going to go on? Live today. Find your why. We talked about it in this broadcast. Write your eulogy tomorrow. That's what I have all my coaching clients do. They hate it fucking desperately, but then they write their eulogy. You want to know what I also have them do? I have them write a letter to their loved ones that they're dead and say what they need to say. Ooh, imagine that. You're not going to live forever, ladies and gentlemen. You get to live today. And she said, this powerful world gets. I found myself one time, I have to go clean my pool. And God's honest truth. I sat there and said, I have to go clean my pool. And I'm like, I have a pool. I was a homeless 7th grade dropout, lived in the backseat of a station wagon. I was abused physically, mentally, spiritually. And I have a pool I get to clean? Holy shit. Fucking Chris, change your perspective about things. You get to make dinner for your family. Your family's alive. You get to get up tomorrow and take care of yourself and put nutrition in your body. You get to stop your excuses. When will you take advantage of that? I think this message right now is clear enough for you. So I'm imploring you to love yourself today, to find empathy and forgiveness for the people who have wronged you, because they came into your life for you to become this person that you are today. And I reminded of that because I was editing my book today and I was going through some tough stuff. And I realized all of that happened for me and not to me. Right? Can you make that deal with me? Can you send me a message, whatever it is, on email or social media? Can you send me a message and let me know, hey, Chris, I got the message. And you know what? I'm going to do better. And I'm going to be better. And I'm going to share this with other people because everybody deserves a chance. This humanity, this thing we call humanity all across the world, let's bring that together, because that is my spirit. You saw my son come into this broadcast. If you missed it, go back and watch it. He brought me French fries. I haven't taken a bite, but there's a cold French fry. Bring a French fry to somebody you love. Can you do that? I love you guys. I will be back here next week. Please connect with Malaysia. I put her information up here, info@malaysiaharrell.com, malaysiaharrell.com. Check it out. All the information is in the show notes. If you're driving and listening to this, which I know you guys are, let's be the change that we bitch about. All right. Can we do that? I'll see you here next week, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always live, always in your face. You guys can bring your questions and conversation to the table. I appreciate Lynn Serrano, who said she shared it. I appreciate Hillary in the house, Crystal in the house, and all the other people that are going to be watching this in a few hours on the East Coast. Let's do this. All right. I'll see you here next week. Love you guys. Bye.